welcome back to Copperhead Customs. Today we are back on this, our V8 Chrysler 300c. Stick around to see what we do to this one today. So yes, as stated, this is our V8 Chrysler 300c. One that we fixed a few months ago was in a very bad accident and we repaired it all. And the boss decided she liked it so much that she wanted to keep it. So today we are going to do some mechanic wrenching and we're going to do some weird stuff. That's right! Yes, today what we're going to do is we're going to raise it. Yes, we're going to raise it back up. We're going to take the lowered suspension out because we're getting a bit old and fragile and we live out in the country and the roads out here are disgraceful. So driving it, you actually feel your back popping out where it shouldn't be. So we're going to put a set of stock suspension and springs all through it. We've bought new front struts with the standard springs and new rear springs. So we're going to throw them in, raise the car up, and fingers crossed it drives nicely. Good for us old people. And we also have a little bit of a whine coming from the rear end. Now, I do know when I had it wheel aligned, they said that it needed a rear wheel bearing. So we've purchased hopefully the right one, wheel bearing. We've just got one for now to make sure I've ordered the right one because there is a 27 spline and a 31 spline. So we've bought the 27. Fingers crossed that's the right one. So we're going to check that that is the right one. If it is, I'll quickly order the other side and we will do the left hand rear wheel bearing. Hopefully the other one comes in the next few days. And we'll do the right hand side as well. And then hopefully that noise from the rear end of the car disappears. But if it doesn't, then it means it may actually have a diff whine in it as well. And if that's the case, we'll have to replace that later on down the track. But at least we'll know that the wheels are not going to fall off of it. And as you can see, it is filthy dirty, so we'll have to give it a bit of a scrub up. And the other thing I'm thinking of doing is we have the round headlight covers, as you would have seen on our other white Chrysler. We were going to use them, but I think they'll suit this one better because this one does have the honeycomb style grille. So I think we'll quickly paint up those black covers in the black paint, clear them, put them on here and see if the boss likes the look of that because she does love Bentleys. So if some of that sounds of interest to you, then stick around and see what it turns out like when we do the opposite of everyone else on YouTube by raising the car instead of lowering the car. So with all of that said, there's a shot of the car all nice and low. We will put hopefully a before and after picture up later on. I think our first step though will be, let's jack up the rear end, take one of the wheels off, see if we ordered the correct part, and let's start wrenching on this thing. Oakley dokley. So these, as you can see, are 22-inch rims. And one of the things I don't like about this car is these are actually, the center caps have to be taken off with an Allen key head to actually access your wheel studs. So I think that is a bit of a pest. So anyway, I'll get this off. We'll loosen the wheel, jack the car up, and let's have a look underneath. Oakley dokley, so there's the wheel off. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll get rid of that monstrosity of a blue brake caliper. We'll just paint them black. Yeah, I don't know about that, but what we've got to do is we've got to take the brake caliper off. So there's two bolts on the back and we'll just hang that up and we'll get that painted. We'll also, what I'm thinking is we'll undo this bottom bolt of the shocker down here. I think we'll undo that. That will drop, hopefully should drop the arm down enough to actually swap the springs out. So that will be what we'll do to get rid of the spring. Now to do the wheel bearing, we're going to have to undo this big drive nut. Hopefully I've got the right size socket. And I'm pretty sure in the back here, we'll go through this a bit more in detail, but in the back here near the axle, in the actual hub there, I think there's 4 bolts. Hopefully you're looking, because I can't see where you're looking. Pretty sure there's 4 bolts in there, but we'll see that better once we get the brake off, this nut off. We can take the rotor off, have a look. I'm pretty sure there's 4 bolts in there, and then that will actually unbolt, I think, the hub. I'm not sure I don't know if we have to undo any of the arms or not at this stage. We will determine that as we go. I've never done this. I've never really worked on these a real lot. So I'm fumbling my way through it, just like you guys would be. But I'm pretty sure through the springs, we can just drop the shock to get the spring out. So we'll do this hub, we'll do this spring, and on the other side, we'll just do the spring until the other hub comes in, is what I am thinking. Then we'll jump to the front. So anyway, with all that, let's get that off, and then we'll come back. Okay, Lee. Right, so here we are. We've got it all torn out. We've actually got the new hub already on. It's pretty simple, but I pulled all the arms off basically to get this lower. Now that was mainly to get the spring out, to take some tension off this. Whether you could get it by really cranking on it, maybe, but I didn't want to put that much stress in case it popped. So there's the lowered spring there, and we pop that out, and there's our new one to put in. So if you want to see the difference, not only has the lowered one has tighter coils, as you can see, but it is a good 1.5 to 2 inches longer, and as you can see, tighter coils. So this would be probably a bit softer, taller and softer, and that is obviously shorter and a bit more stiffer. So but you know, that's just in looking at it. You don't know what the rates excuse me, you don't know what the rates of them are unless you put them in to a spring tester, which not many people would have. We would have one tucked away in the cupboard from racing out the back. But anyway, that's a whole nother story, okay? We won't even delve into that technology or how we do any of that stuff. So, because it is actually a spring and shock tester, rates, all sorts of stuff, yeah, it goes on in that. But like I said, we won't get into that. So yeah, the spring can go back in there in a minute. And so we took the arms off. There's 4 bolts in from the back. Now they are the Torx type, but if you've got a 10mm with the like that, we'll get them off. Now you probably want to use the 3/8 drive if you've got a 3/8. I couldn't find a 3/8 10mm that was set up like that, so it's the only one missing. The Phantom 10mm is always missing, isn't it? So yeah, but anyway, we could get in there with that. We just have to push back on the axle and everything. That's basically why we had to undo a lot of it to get this out a little bit. Now, when I pulled that off, I noticed there wasn't much. As you can see with the Chryslers, they have an inboard handbrake on the inside of the rotor. So it's basically like a drum type handbrake. And as you can see there, that's the drum sort of section. Now, Mercedes have the same kind of setup. So I noticed there wasn't really any tension, no scraping on this. So I think this needs a little bit of adjustment as well. But yes, with a bit of fan dangling, you can get to those 4 bolts. So now we're in the rebuild section. And I did notice one of the arms, 1 or 2 of the arms, I think it was this one here, the rubber's a little bit, you probably can't see real good, but anyway, we could put some light on the situation, but I'm pretty sure it was that one. It should be replaced pretty soon. You can see that rubber there has a little split in it, so that's one we probably want to look at getting replaced, but all the others look pretty good. So what we just did then though is we grabbed some brake clean out of the drawer, and we just brake cleaned obviously the brake parts, and we also inox. As you can see, everything's all shiny, so we sprayed inox around all of our rubbers and moving components, and also onto our drive shaft itself. So not a hard job, pretty simples, and obviously we did buy the right one. The 27 spline is what we were after. So we'll rebuild it all and we'll get that spring in, and I think we better get on to ordering a new one straight away. We also, remember, we got to paint that caliper because that is just absolutely disgraceful. So, and as you've seen what we did there with the caliper, we just got a bit of wire. You know, you can go buy the real proper things, but yeah, just a coat hanger or whatever, a bit of wire just to hang it up to take pressure off of, take some, relieve some pressure on the hose, so you're not just pulling on the hose. It's always a good idea. So anyway, none of this is hard in suspension work. They're generally tight, and Chrysler, this is the era when Mercedes was in on Chrysler, so as usual, there is millions of different sizes. You need to bring half your toolkit out. So a lot of it was 18s on this one. I must say it wasn't as bad as others we've done, but yes, we needed a 15, an 18, a 17, the 10, and then they threw the oddball one in. They threw a 16mm head in. So I only have one 16mm ring spanner. That's all I have. Like 16 is pretty rare. So yeah, typical Chrysler, Mercedes deal there. You need half your toolkit. Let's keep working. Oakley dokley. So there's all that side done. Okay, now something to remember is jack your lower control arm up and get the car to ride height. So jack it up until it just pops off the axle stand, and that is when you tighten everything up. Now you can see here we might just give it a little bit more, but the brake caliper there, got a bit on here, see? The brake caliper there, the stupid paint just came off with brake clean. So I just sprayed it, and I got a toothbrush and just gave it a little tiny scrubbing like this. And then just went, boom, and that was it. It was done. It was all off. So yeah, he used some quality paint, that Pelican did, didn't he? So anyway, whatever. Made it easy for us, didn't it? So anyway, but that looks much better, I think, than that stupid blue. Like, God, I just don't understand the whole, whatever. Maybe I'm old. Anyway, there's that side done, wheel bearing and spring. So the spring itself, we managed to do it. We just levered down on the control arm and plonked it in. So we will see what the difference is. Now, they're a bit of a weird setup, these, like there's play around all the studs. So I don't know. I don't actually know how that works. But if we come to this other side sounds a bit crunchy. So maybe the bearing was this side. But look at this. Like, see the play in that? I don't know. I don't know what goes on there. So that's moving the whole way through. Like the axle's moving like that. But it's just how that's sloppy in there. I don't know if that's right. If that's because the brakes aren't adjusted correctly, or... Oh, look at this. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Don't know. We will see what happens. So I think we'll put the wheels on and we'll move to the front, do the front struts. Now the struts, what we've done at the front is, instead of just buying springs, we actually bought complete struts. I think we paid next to nothing. I think we paid $100 for all of it. So it was like cheap as. I think I paid $100 for 2 rear springs and the 2 front struts with springs. So that way, the reason why I've done it this way is we've got lowered struts. You know, we've got the struts with the lowered springs and the rear lowered springs. So if we ever wanted it low again or something, we could. Can't see us doing it. We've also got a couple of other things to do. This is the water spray window washer thing. I think the hose has a little pinch in it, and there's a couple of plastics under the bonnet that we were missing that I grabbed from the wreckers. So anyway, we've got a few little things to do. So we won't get nothing done if we talk. So let's get back to work. Oakley dokley. So we're up to the front, and we just put the little 2 pieces we were missing on. And as you can see, beautiful engine cover we got now. This one has these fancy billet strut tops and strut bolt tops, so we had to take them off. They just unscrew, nearly fell over. Now we just grabbed those little headlight covers and gave them a little misting of some pressure pack and sat them on and showed the boss. I thought she would have liked them, but she prefers them without them, so they go on the parts shelf for another one. So anyway, what that means is that's one job we don't have to do. So we've still got to do the window sprayer tube, but down here we're going to quickly do these strut. Now if we look in down the bottom there where my socket is, we have 1 bolt there, so that is a 21 on one side and a 18 on that side. We then also have that what do you call that, this here, the drop link bolt to undo, and then up in the top we have the 3 bolts up there, and then hopefully we can fan dangle it out. And what we'll do is we'll take note of the marks on the springs and actually see how low it was, because it was very, very low in the front. Now, in saying that, we're not going to completely know until we've done the front and done both sides. But our rear springs were King springs, and they were KCRL 70s. So I'm going to look up what they were, but we've only raised this side, remember, to that side. It's less than ½ an inch different, I think. So I don't know, we'll have to check that. Admittedly, they were 2 inches shorter, but they are a lot stiffer. So whether they are standards or whether they are just a ½ inch lowered spring, we're not sure. This does have a tow bar pack on it, so whether they were put in for that. Now the car did sit a little bit down in the front, so yeah, we'll see what the front ones are as well. But the ride was very stiff, so it was very stiff in the back, and the front was just too low. It was scraping and stuff a little bit as well. So regardless, we want it high because we want a comfy ride. Like I said, we live in the country. If we lived down the coast, it might be a different story. But living out here in the country, 100km/h roads, very bumpy. They're very bumpy and ratty roads out here. It's bad enough with the 22s. You got to dodge potholes and stuff as it is. But the roads are very bang, bang, bang and everything. So for us, we've got to have the car raced, okay? Maybe 20 years ago, I would have put up with getting bashed around in the car, but the few times we've driven it, we haven't really enjoyed being in it. And after driving my wagon a little bit lately, it's a completely different feeling. That car is just beautiful. I find it very easily to be going a tiny bit fast in it because it's just so smooth. You don't realize how fast you're actually going in it, but very comfy. You don't feel anything, and that's riding on 22s as well. If we put that on the original 18s, man, that thing would be comfortable. But any rate, we'll quickly get in here. I'll quickly undo those five bolts. I'll undo them, see if we can fan dangle this out. We'll throw a new one in, and that'll be boom, that quick. Oakley dokley, it's all done. We've actually done we've done the other rear spring too, and we've swapped both fronts out. We also did the little hose that goes to the, replace that quickly. Now it's not sitting on level ground at the moment, so it's actually looking low here and high there, and it'll be the opposite on the other side. It's sitting low there and high here, but it's 3 fingers. It is here, so at the moment it's only 2, but it is normally 3, and on the back here it's the same. It's 3 fingers, and at the moment it's basically 4. So yeah, 1 finger down there, up there, and that's how it sits. But we'll show you that a bit later when we put it on level ground. So as you can see here, we have 3 and a bit fingers, and in the back here we'll probably have, lucky if we've got 2. So yeah, it's just not on level ground. So yeah, we got rid of all the blue paint. As you can see, got rid of those stupid blue paint calipers, and the brakes are a bit weird at the moment because we got a bit of inox. We sprayed all inox through all the guard liners and on all the suspension, so the brakes feel a bit funny at the moment. But we haven't done this side's wheel bearing, so we haven't put the center cap on there, but we've done the spring. So yeah, we've got to do that wheel bearing and then have a look at the brakes in there, make sure the handbrakey thing is right, and then at that point, once we've done that, we'll test drive it and see if we have eliminated the noise, the little whine, or if we've just got rid of the bearing noises and the other one is in the diff. So there is a constant little noise in the back. To me, there could be 2 noises, you see. There's a constant little noise in the back, but then under acceleration it seems to increase, which to me tells me it could be a diff whine. But wheel bearings will do that, but normally a wheel bearing is more of a constant noise, is what I thought. But when I was researching buying the wheel bearings, we definitely know the wheel bearings. The wheel alignment people said one of the wheel bearings is shot, so we definitely know there was wheel bearings in it. I thought it was that side, but I could have been wrong. This side, moving the wheels, does feel a bit crunchy. So yeah, I could still hear it just moving it backward and forwards, a bit of a noise. So like I said, we won't know until we've done that. Worst case, if it has a diff whine, well, at least we know the wheels won't fall off. The car can be driven, and we will replace the diff center down the track. Yeah, we'll just see. So we still got to wash it, clean it, do all that, do the wheel bearing, and then probably give it a vacuum and test drive it. That's it. Anyway, not a bad looking car, is it? Any rate, we'll head up. Little mate's with us, and there's our wagon. So it will sit just like the wagon. I bet you the wagon's 3 fingers. Let's just check while we're here. I bet you the wagon's 3 fingers. Yep, on the money. 3 fingers on the money. So it will sit just like the wagon is sitting when it's on level ground. At any rate, with all that said, obviously, as you can see, it's getting late. So me and him, we're going inside. See you tomorrow. Oakley dokley, we're back at it. It's been I don't know, a week, maybe more. Not that the part I ordered Saturday night or Sunday, and the part arrived Monday. That company is awesome. Just on eBay, can't think of what they're called. Best ever. The first one came really quick as well, within 1 day, I think. That came Monday. I think it came Monday or Tuesday. Anyway, Tuesday. I think they must have shipped it Monday. We got it Tuesday. Unbelievable. That normally doesn't happen here in Australia. Normally takes about a week. Any rate, we've got our new wheel bearing through this side. We've just brought the car in, jacked it up, and got the wheel off. That's all we've done. And as you can see, how, no blue caliper and just some inox. How much that made that look nice when we did the rear spring. All looking good. Now, here's something. This is the benefits of making videos. Last night I was editing the footage that I'd taken that you've just seen. And when I was editing this, I seen if you have a trained eye, you need to maybe stop and rewind and have a look at the last bit of footage we have of this wheel. Okay, and see if you pick something, because I picked something in the editing. All right, so jack it up until it just pops off the axle stand. Okay, are you back? Did you go and have a look? What did you find? Did you even go and look? I bet you didn't. Anyway, this is what I found whilst editing, was have a look at the rear shocker bolt. Pretty much dead center of your screen. It's not done up, is it? No, it is not done up. Naughty, naughty, naughty. See, so that's the benefits of making videos, is I actually spotted that in the editing went, that doesn't look like I've done that up. I might want to go and check that tomorrow. Surely I wouldn't. I must have done it up after the footage. Come down to this morning, jack it up, have a look. It's not done up. So there is one benefit of making these stinking videos. That could have been, I don't know, would have been a pain in the bum anyway, but yeah, that's not cool. So we'll actually go over that whole side before we finish. Then what we will do though is, what I did notice the other day when I was moving the car back and forward and stuff, there is no handbrake at all. Okay, I'll put the handbrake on, there's no handbrake at all working. So they need to be really, really, really badly adjusted. Now, I was thinking about this, whether this is true or not, but with the play that's in those hubs that I showed you, I wonder if that has something to do with the handbrake not being adjusted correctly. Maybe those drum pads of the handbrake take up that bit of slack, maybe. That could even be contributing to the noise, this noise that we've got, but yeah, we don't really know. So anyway, we'll get this hub done. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all done this morning, as I have to go out. Okay, so we've got it all torn down. Pretty simple stuff really, but I'll just explain what we've got. We've got a bolt here, okay? We've got another one here, going through there. We've got one over here, an arm here, and we've got an arm down the bottom there, somewhere down there, okay? So there's 4 arms on these suspensions, okay? There's a bit going on with them, but yeah, basically there's 4 arms happening. That's all you sort of really need to get off. You got to take your brake caliper. So the 4 arms are all 18 mils. The brake caliper is an 18 mil as well, and there's our little hook just holding it so that we're not pulling on our brake line. Now, then, like I said earlier, we have these little Torx head bolts. Now these can be a bit of a bummer to get into. You may, if you've got a hoist, be able to get to these 4 bolts without taking this stuff off, but it's just, for me, it's easier to get them off and to get in there. Okay, so this is my little setup that I used. Where is it? In here. Because like I said earlier, I couldn't find a 3/8 drive socket, so I've got a 1/2 inch drive 10mm, and it has to have that, be that starry type. Okay, and the 10mm will work on the Torx bit. You may have the proper Torx bit and make it even easier. I've then done a 1/2 inch to 3/8 reducer, and you need a little baby extension, and I've used a little 3/8 drive, so you can get into those 4 quite easily then. And that's about it. The old bearing is here. You pull that off, and there's also the one big nut, the big I think it's a 32 from memory, don't quote me on that one. I think it's 32, I think. Anyway, what's our socket say? I think I grabbed the I think I actually grabbed the Imperial. I grabbed the 1.25 inch, so I think that is 32 anyway. So yeah, and then there's like a little washer here, this weird little washer that goes in on there first, and there's this little ring that goes on to your outside of your disc drum assembly. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to just give all this a clean with some brake clean. This is just brake clean in here. We buy it in the 20 litre 5-gallon drum. Just put it in a spray bottle, and then we're going to spray some inox, which is like your WD or whatever you guys use, RP7, whatever, WD-40. We're just going to throw that on this assembly here. We're not in the brakes, you know, maybe the springs or so, or maybe a bit on there gently, but we don't want to get it on the pads or on that, because then the brakes will squeal until it burns it all off. It won't hurt, it just means the brakes won't work properly until we have that done. Now, see this here, this is your adjuster. If you didn't know, this is your adjuster for your drum brakes. So you turn that, now in behind there, see that little bit there? Well, that's a little rubber. You can pop that out from the other side, and then you get a little tool in, like a screwdriver type thing, and you and you spin that around, which will then spread, that will open that up, which then spreads these out. So we'll adjust that a little bit like it is now, until this is sort of firmish on there. Oakley dokley. So hopefully you can see. Now what we want to do is we're under the car obviously, and there's no room because I haven't got it jacked up very high, but if you can see, if I get my buff head out of the way, and see that little rubber grommet, we want to just lever that out, and in there you'll see the little adjuster. Now on this side of the car, we want to turn that adjuster towards the back of the car. Okay, now we want to adjust that until we cannot move the rim at all, till it's tight. Then basically the adjuster has little teeth. I'll show you in a second when I get the grommet out. We want to click it back the other way, 6 teeth. As you can now see, the little grommet is missing. Okay, yes, there you go. See just there on the left hand side of your screen, that little oval hole, see the little coggy thing in there? So the top of that is where our little teeth are. So we want to get a screwdriver onto there, and like I said, move that towards the back until the wheel stops moving, and then move it towards the front, 6 teeth. So they say you can go a minimum of 6 teeth up to 17, and you just want a tiniest little bit of drag on the wheel. And then it's, like I said, double check it. You go put your handbrake on, shouldn't move the wheel, should be pretty good. Anyway, I'll get it done, and then quickly remind me I've got to do up that shocker bolt. Okay, so there's all of that done. So yes, when you've got the brakes adjusted, when you put the handbrake on, you will not be able to budge that wheel at all, no matter how much oomph you put on it. And with the handbrake off, you should be able to move the wheel, but it should sort of, you finish pushing it and it should basically sort of stop. So you want a little tiny bit of drag on, not too much. And that's how you adjust them now. So that's done. We've raised the car. As you can see under here, it's a lot leveler. See, we've got our 3 fingers all the way around. It still probably sits a little bit down in the front compared to the back. The back's probably still a tiny bit higher. It's probably like 3 and a bit in the back and 3 in the front, but It has just all been jacked up, so we might settle a bit. But this car was always, I don't know if they're all like that, but yeah, this one is slightly higher in the back. I think in the wagon, I think the wagon was a good 3 all around. This one's 3 and a bit in the back, but so be it. That's how it is. So like we've said, when you do all your arms, make sure they're jacked up at right height. So take the weight of the car on the jack on the lower control arm, then do up all your bushes and stuff. We did that shock up, adjusted the brakes, changed the wheel bearings. So that should be all the mechanical stuff done now. Now, I don't know if you did know, probably have never said this, but early on, before I started this video, 3-4 weeks ago, I actually drained all the diff oil out and put some nice new diff oil in, and I actually put a little additive in it as well. So, and there was a little bit of metallic in the oil that we took out. So yeah, the diff is a bit worn. I know that for a fact. Whether that's the one or not, like I said, we'll find out. If it is, we will replace it down the track. If it isn't, well, then it's beautiful. But even if it is, we know we're safe and the car can be driven around until I replace the diff. So with that said, I've got to go in, shower, shave, all of that good stuff. Well, you know, and we'll see you this afternoon or in the morning. Oakley, D.I. Oakley. So we've given it a quick rinse. Hopefully you can see it's looking pretty shiny. And there's our raised hide again. And we gave it a quick vacuum. I don't know how well you'll see in here, but we'll get some light on the situation. A quick little vacuum. As you can see, if you didn't know, this one has the diamond stitch seats. Had them redone. It's all pretty nice. It's got a sunroof. Now, down the track, I do want to give the roof another polish. You can see it looks a little bit cloudy in a few spots. So I want to give that, the light's really showing it up actually. We want to give that another cut and polish. That was actually really bad when we got the car. And I didn't get too carried away with the wash. I probably could have gone a bit harder on it, but we just gave it a quick rinse because really it hasn't done anything. It just had a layer of dust on it basically. But that roof, I want to give another polish eventually, and I want to repaint this bonnet. If you didn't know, we had a reaction up the back. You can see it looks a bit peely. You probably can't see, but in here there is a bit of trash just there, one there, and somewhere around here there is a little racetrack. So you can see that little racetrack in there. There you go. So yes, we're going to sand that down, and we might even throw a bit of undercoat, a layer of under primer, and give it another coat of black and clear on the bonnet. I think I may try colour sand it a bit more and see if we burn through or not. But if we burn through, I think that's what we'll do. We'll give another coat of paint. But for now, we're looking clean, all good. So obviously we're not going for a drive now, but in the morning we'll get up and we'll take it for a little test and see if we fixed the mechanicals. And we will probably have to go get a wheel alignment done, seeing we've raised it. I would say the front wheel alignment will be out, so we'll have to get a wheel alignment done. Other than that, it's ready to let the boss drive a bit, and fingers crossed we'll fix the noise. Like I said, the next few weeks we'll give that roof a polish, and when we free up a little bit of time, we'll give the roof a polish and the bonnet a repaint. Other than that, fingers crossed we have fixed it. So with that said, you can see pitch black. Little mate is not happy. He wants to go inside. So for that, I will say I'll see you in the morning. Next morning, hey, just walking down to the shed. Check that out. Hopefully you can see. The Bedford's lower. Now I know, admittedly the driveway's down a bit there, but hey, the little ratty Bedford's little, isn't it? Anyway. there we go. All done. As you can see, it's all raised up. And it's looking pretty good. You wouldn't really fault that it looks not as good as or anything now. It is higher, but it still has a pretty good stance about it.
Yeah, but did you fix it?
Yes, did we fix it? Well, we're still on the fence. It's definitely quieter. I still think there is a tiny little noise from the rear end, so I still think it has a little whine in that diff, I think. But I'm going to replace it anyway down the track. But at the moment, it's safe, looks good, drives heaps better, and the boss can start to enjoy it. So I would somewhat call that successful. We've obviously, like you said, raised the car, changed the hubs, it's driving good, the boss can enjoy it. You know the saying, happy wife, happy life. With all that said, I'll say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.